Submit spirit form matter. Our celestial humanity arrives, awake in a dream, an inception of our reality. So we live, we love, and then there is music. So we dance, we sing, we pray, we reflect. In the infinite in between, the now that was, faces dance in our dreams. Some familiar, some
a single vision radio.
Cosmic composition. In the irrelevance of this time, we realize the passion of the random abstraction, learning the lesson that the brotherhood of man is far more important than the ego of any individual. Imagination becomes the sound of thought, traveling at the speed of art. So we paint on the canvas of our ephemeral encounters, a masterpiece of memory that lives in the eternity of a child. Good evening. Once again, talking on the subject matter of planet Earth, what I've learned so far. First part was, just to do a little recap, the key phrase was enjoy life. And you basically teaching the children, or I learned in my early childhood, how to crawl before I walk, and that's just a metaphor to know that I learned the basics of life. Excuse me. And that's what I learned, and that's what you should teach your children, is the basics of life from those impressionable years. Excuse me. From birth to 13, teaching them all the aspects, from the mom bonding, the mother bonding with the child, all the way up to both parents engaging them in all aspects of life according to what parents are supposed to do. Now, the second aspect I want to get into a little deeper is the hedge of protection and to teach and train. The hedge of protection you need to keep around your children, especially the women, the females, the daughters. Boys too, especially boys and especially girls. The hedge of protection need to be kept around them. You shouldn't have boys and girls left alone as young children, because there's curiosity that goes on and exploration and all this stuff, and that's where a lot of incest and stuff end up happening when you leave them alone by themselves to play by themselves, whatever. And the way this world is teaching, they can get off into all kind of stuff. So you keep a hedge of protection. I always have them with some kind of supervision when they're in those young impressionable ages. Some kind of chaperone or supervisor around them at all times when they're young. And also, the hedge of protection goes towards protecting the girls for obvious reasons, their minds, their bodies, their spirits. Teach your children everything. Teach them everything. Street smarts, book smarts, God smarts, devil smarts, everything. Teach them all the tricks that everybody try to do. Show them, go around and show them the stuff in the hood. Show them what the stuff mean. Hip them to the game. Show them how to hustle. Teach them how to make, not just hustle, but how to control and use finance, and teach them about money and how to count money, how to keep and make money, make and keep money, especially these days. You got to teach children how to go for education, get an education, higher education, in some aspect on bettering themselves so that they can live and be an independent decision maker in their life. Because if somebody else is making decisions for them, it could end up being miserable at some point or whatever. It may not be. It may be actually happy and lucrative. It depends. But the hedge of protection is where you teach and train and show them the way they should go so that they can live long lives, and they'll honor you, because depending on how well you teach them, that's what the decision is going to be, whether or not you go in that nursing home or not, or they'll let you stay with them and take care of them. So, remember that. The way you treat your children, they pick your nursing home when you can't take care of yourself, if you don't take care of yourself. So always remember that. To keep that hedge of protection around them so that they won't be scarred by the world. That things won't be tarnished for them. Bad memories. You don't want to place a bad memory in their mind. And if it is something that happened and there's a bad memory, try to replace those bad memories the rest of your life with good memories, so that that won't scar them. And with the girls, teach them how to do everything on the car, fix the car, flat tire, change the battery, clean the battery post, change the oil, all that stuff. Teach them basic life skills to survive, live and survive as an individual, so that they can be useful to themselves first, and don't have to depend on nobody else to do anything for them. And teach the girls independence, how to be independent financially, emotionally, spiritually, economically, culinary, domestically, all of that. Teach them all of that stuff. Old school, that's the values we need to instill as old school, and teach the boys the same thing, how to take care of themselves, how to cook, clean, do all that stuff for themselves. Teach them how to take care of a family, take care of themselves first in preparation for taking and raising their own family. Teach them how to take care of themselves, how to protect themselves. Teach the girls and the boys some kind of self-defense or martial art, for both the physical self-defense skills and also teaching them discipline. Instilling them some kind of skill or discipline. Sports is okay, but it's not really a necessary tool. There's a lot of problems in sports, a lot of problems in every field, really. But as we see now, a lot of the players getting hated on for comments they make or whatever, because they're not really free. You just on the plantation like everybody else, you $1 million Negroes or whatever, but $1 million slaves. But that hedge of protection would teach them the value of life, so that they can enjoy life. And once you keep that hedge of protection around them, they can develop without any being tampered with. And if somebody come want your daughter or daughters or whatever, if they ain't making at least $1 million, you shouldn't even let them even talk to your daughters. Especially if you train her and get her the education she need to be successful. And she be successful, a lawyer, doctor, stuff like that, and a business person. You pay for her school, nurse, whatever, just so she can finance and take care of herself. If they not coming with something that at least matches what you did for her, or at least matches what she can do for herself, they need to keep it moving. That's the bottom line with that. They need to just keep it moving. And teach your sons how to pick a good woman, how to pick a good mate, and somebody that's gonna do for them what they're gonna do the same for them that they're gonna do for the other person. Don't get caught up in these games and tricks in relationships. It's a really good book that deals with a lot of relationships by Katrina Muhammad, called Relationship Talks. And I recommend it because it gives you the 3 keys to the universe. When I say universe, that's you and your partner, you and I versus the world. Information, communication, transportation. Information, what do I need to know about this person before I even get married or court them or engaged or whatever. And whatever you're going to do before I do anything, it gives you the information on what questions to ask them, what you need to ask and whatnot. Then communication. Let's talk about it all. You talk about it, discuss it, finance, romance, dance, all that. Communicate. And then last one, transportation. Not only learning how to have adequate transportation physically, but where you're going to go with all the information and communication you've done. You got to plan out your life with each other. Plan it out and have a plan for every day, every week, every month, every year. Have a plan to set a goal. Set goals together, set goals individually, set goals for the family. And plan it out and work your plan constantly and continuously. Somebody veers off the plan, try to get them back on the path and see where their head's at, see where the problems are. That's the hedge of protection. You have some type of structure in your home, the best type of structure. Whether if you have a religious structure, maintain in your household. Let them explain to them why you have that structure and what you value and what your rules are, and make them follow your rules in your household. And then when they get older, if they want to go off somewhere else, they can. But if they do choose another path while they're young, don't deter them from whatever they choose. Just let them learn what it's about. And as long as it's not infringing on the integrity of your household, And just keep that hedge of protection around them. And protect them from all aspects of negative influence, whether it be radio, television, internet, outside people, friends at school. If they're dealing with bullies and all that, protect them from that. Don't study your children, keep an eye on them. Make sure you supervise them and make sure ain't no privacy for them when they're a child. Some, they get some, but not all, because you got to study and make sure they're not getting influenced negatively by anything. So that's got to explain to them, man, I got to see everything you doing, because I don't want no craziness in my house. And so that's why you keep that hedge of protection in the law. You can raise them up in the law, but what you got to nurture them with is love. Raise them in your law, nurture them with love. when you nurture them with love, the law will become a natural thing for them because they won't go away from it. They might steer off from what something you taught them based off of what you learned. Like I say, train up a child the way he should go, and not so much the way you went. But if you want to tell them about the way you went, be careful because you don't want to spark a negative influence in the wrong direction. But be honest, let them know what you did and why you felt you was good or bad or whatever for you. Teach them everything about the streets, the hustle, the game, everything out there, and everything that you believe and study and learned over life up until the point that they got there. And teach them everything. No, if they come up with a subject that they want to discuss, it shouldn't be anything taboo that you couldn't discuss. You should discuss it, even if it's some controversial issues or something. And these days, there's a lot of alternative lifestyles, and when you're dealing with that, do your research, study it. If your child does come home, tell you they're gay or lesbian or whatever, don't beat up on them. Find out, why they made the decision. I believe in heterosexual relationships. I don't bash gay and lesbian relationships. I just don't like when they try to indoctrinate the children with their dogma, because children, some parents have allowed their children, little boy, dress up as a girl and act like a girl and all that. I believe personally that type of behavior leads to mental illness. I believe that. I'm not saying that. I just believe that it's going to lead to some kind of psychic trauma over time. Some may not. Some may be all right. But it's always going to be a conflict in their mind when they're conflicted about the skin they're in and the flesh they're in. There's always going to be a conflict in their mind when they try to change the flesh they're in. I understand a person being born into a body and they feel that they're the opposite. And you may have been in a past life in a male body. You may have been a woman. But the thing of it is, whatever you're in, this is my personal opinion, whatever you're in at that moment, that's what the lesson is. If you're a man now and you used to be a woman, you got to learn what it is to be a man now. And that's what you got to deal with. And if you're a woman and if you're a man and if you are a man and you're a woman, you gotta learn what it is to be a woman. So that this is how this shell game goes. And I don't believe you should force something into being that's not natural. All these mad scientists going out here doing all this surgery and stuff on people, making all these monstrosities and whatnot out of people because they don't know what they're doing, to these people. All kinds of health problems and other things that happen along the way because you're doing something unnatural to something that's natural. But that's enough about that. The hedge of protection is there so that you don't run into a lot of problems that the world has to offer to your family. You don't want to expose them to all these things. You want to keep your child protected and sheltered to a degree away from the world, but you still teach them about the world. You teach them about the world, but you teach them why things are good and why things are bad, why things are positive, why things are negative. Teach them the yin and yang of things in a scientific way, or the balance of polarities, and lead them into some type of spiritual practice. Whatever you are as the head of the household or the heads of the household, whatever you've agreed on as a couple, stick to your guns and let them know where you are and where you want to be and what your household is going to be. Because like I said, you train them up in the way they should go. When they get old, they won't soon depart from it. So whichever way you want to go, and everybody has, we won't argue about spirituality or religion or none of that. That's up to you and your family and your mate, which way you gonna go. And whichever way you gonna go, you better teach those children well so that they'll be able to defend themselves and navigate through the world without any problems. So you gotta keep a hedge of protection. You gotta teach and train. And there's a lot of schools of thought, a lot of institutions out there to get the knowledge you need and the discipline you need. I believe personally that every black person should do at least 2 years in the Nation of Islam or Nation of God's Earth and stuff like that to get an understanding or with the Pan-African community. Marcus Garvey, more science, something like that, to get an understanding of what the black struggle is all about, what African struggle is about, if you want to go with African, Asiatic, African, black, all that, God, earth, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist. Teach them all that stuff. Teach them everything, and get to the root of everything if you can. And you may learn that you learned a lot of stuff yourself. Also, teach them the basic life skills that they need. Teach them to learn a specialty in something. If they make a particular dish real good or something like that, highlight that. And, let them know when they did something well and they did something good. Let them know when they did something wrong. Don't necessarily beat them up about doing something wrong, but explain to them why and let them figure it out for themselves. I remember one time my sister told me her children had gotten in an argument or something, was arguing over something, and she told them to go sit on the steps and think about why they did what they did, and when they're ready to come back and discuss it, let them come back and discuss what they thought about it and why it was wrong or right. And and I thought that was beautiful because they came down and they thought out what the conflict was and why it wasn't good. And you teach them reasoning and logic, and teach them how to deal with their emotions. Don't tell them to block their emotions. Tell them to express their emotions. If they gotta cry, let them cry. Don't let them be no crybabies or no punks, but let them express themselves. If they gotta cry, If they need to yell sometime, have them do that yelling stuff with themselves. Because sometimes you need a little bit of that. But teach and train and keep the hedge around them. Teach and train and keep the hedge around them.